Hi, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Olumide, and in this video, I want to talk about how to start writing like a professional. A lot of people believe that writing is hard. A lot of people feel that, okay, I know how to write, but I don't have an idea of what to write. And some people just feel like, oh, I'm not a writer, so what am I doing in the writing field? Or they don't even know how to start at all. Well, the truth is, as a newbie, or even if you're a professional, this video is actually for you. Here in this video, we'll be talking about how to find a niche, finding your style, how to start writing, and common mistakes to avoid when writing. Later in the video, we'll be talking about how to make money in by writing. The truth about it is that a lot of people are making money in this industry. I mean, in the writing niche, and that is because in the tech space, the writing space, there are a lot of niche and a lot of writers are needed. You can hear of people who write as ghost writers, as full-time writers, as contract writers. So there's a lot of people are making money there. So just because you don't know how to write or you haven't found your style does not mean that writing is not for you. But I'm here to tell you that you can actually do this. Okay, so before we go into the main course of this, please kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can have notifications when other videos that I'm going to upload, odd videos that I'm going to upload, you can get those notifications and you can follow. So without wasting so much time, let's jump right into it. What is writing? Writing is a communication skill. Writing is a means through which we communicate ideas and is a means through which we explain complex information in simple words to desired audience. It is a way through which we communicate a particular thing happening in a society or in a particular field to people that are of interest to us. And the reason why I said people that are of interest to us is because our audience are segmented. Just because I like to read about sports does not mean that another person likes to read about sports. So it is your duty as a writer to know your audience very well. So now that is what writing basically is all about. It's about communication. It's about using signs. It's about using languages. And when I mean languages, you can write in Hausa, you can write in Igbo, you can write in Yoruba, and you can write in English language, Spanish, Espanol, and many more languages like that. But the main thing here is that you are using it to communicate, you are using it to inform, to educate your audience. Now, a lot of people, like I said, have issues with, okay, people are making money with writing. How do I start writing? When you rack your brains around it, you kind of feel like, oh, this this space is too wide. You don't even know what to write about. In fact, some of you might even start by writing like being an all-rounder writer. Well, yeah, while it is not a bad thing, I also feel that the first thing you want to do as a writer is to find a niche. What is a niche? A niche is an aspect of writing that you want to focus on. A niche is an aspect of writing in the text space or in a particular space that you want to write about. Let me give you an example. If you read the pages of a newspaper, you would find out that the newspaper has different sections, different beats. For example, you have the crime section, you have for sports, you have for politics, you have for religion, and so much more like that. Now, you see, people that write for sports might not are very good with sports writing, that they might not want to write, not that they are not good in other forms of writing, but you don't see them writing for sports and at the same time writing political news. Now, by choosing sports and perfecting sport writing, sports becomes your niche of writing. By choosing politics and you try to write about politics and improve your writing skills in politics, I mean, own your skills in politics and political writing, you've actually found a niche. So same thing applies to when you as a newbie is coming into the tech space and you're trying to find a niche that works for you. And when I mean finding a niche, it means finding that particular aspect of writing that interests you. Okay, I so much believe that when you're trying to find a niche, you shouldn't go for a niche that you don't have an interest in. Take for example, if you are the type of person that likes to read novels, you might decide to choose novel writing as your type of niche. If you are the type of person that likes politics, you might decide to pick a niche in political writing. If you are the type of person that likes technology generally, explaining how to do this, how to do that, you might choose aspect of that technology as your niche. Now, that is finding a niche, an area that actually interests you, that you can actually, an area whereby if they wake you up in the morning, you can easily talk about it without stress, without you opening your, browser, surfing through your browser. Those are what we call niches, an area that interests you. Now, now that you found your niche, or you found a niche that interests you, the next thing you want to do is to find a writing style. The next thing you want to do is find a writing style. Now, what is a writing style? A writing style is what differentiates you from every other writers out there. Do you understand? That style that differentiates you, that thing that makes you stand out among others. Take, for example, if you look at news writing comes in two different forms. Okay, news writing style rather comes in two different forms, and the first one is the inverted pyramid style, and the second one is the paramedia style of writing. The inverted pyramid style is a type of news writing style that has to talk that does that deals with writing from the most important to the least important, while the paramedial starts from the least important to the most important. That is actually for example. Now, as a style, as a writer, are you want to look for a style that actually is not rigid. You want to look for a style that is flexible. You want to look for a style that is captivating enough for your audience to like flow through. Because what you really don't want is for your audience to start reading your article from the beginning, and by the time they get to the body of your article, they already get bored, tired. So you want to look for something that interests them, that can make them have an audience flow through. The audience flow through means that you are able to keep them engaged. You are able to capture their attention from the headline of the topic of your article to the end of your article. In fact, even at the end of the article, you still give them guessing of what is going to what the of the next thing you are going to publish. So that is what differentiates you from other writers. Now, when you talk about style, a style is not something you develop in a day. Okay, a style is something you develop by continuously writing, by writing something or about that particular niche that you have chosen every day. And by the time you do something every day, obviously you get perfect, you get perfect or better at it, right? So that is also what you are actually supposed to do by writing about something, about your niche rather, every day. Also, in the bid to find your style, one particular thing you should do is by reading other people's article in that aspect or that niche that you have chosen. The reason is because now that you are coming into the tech space to choose a writing style, there are people who have been in that field for a very long time, and they have become, they have become so good, they become a powerful voice in that particular area. So what you want to do is choose them as mentors, or search out for their articles, read about their articles, try to understand their style. By the time you're trying to understand their style, it makes you understand why many readers are going into that particular blog. I mean, are going to that particular blog to read their articles. And by the time you read that, you try to see that, okay, if I write it this way, it is much better. Okay, so it means that you are improving on the style that you already saw, of on the style of someone who is probably your mentee, or someone you also like, or someone you are trying to read his article. There is this particular saying in I think it's cut across all profession, stealing like a professional. Okay, now stealing like a professional means like it means that you are not the owner of that particular idea, but you are improving on that idea. So it means that you might not be you might not be the owner of a particular style, but you can improve on that style and make it your own style. Okay, right. So that is how you actually find your style. So like I said, the first thing you need to do is find a niche, and also the next thing you need to do is find your style. Now for this aspect that we want to talk about, I hope you have your pen and your paper with you, because here I'm going to be giving you a lot of information that you probably might know, you probably might not know, but trust me, you would actually need it. All right, so here we want to talk about how to start writing like a professional. Now, it is so wrong when you want to start writing, and the first thing you just do is just put your pen to paper and you just start drafting and start writing. You see, the truth is that you are most likely not have a perfect copy. Why do I say this? The reason I'm saying you might not have a perfect copy is because by the time you just start writing without thinking it through, you are likely to leave out some important information. Just like the way you don't just open your mouth and start talking without thinking. Same thing applies to writing. You have to think first before you start writing. Okay. Now, that aspect of thinking now is called conceptualization in writing. Conceptualization is the first stage in writing, whereby you conceptualize idea, you think about an idea, you bring an idea, you think about how an idea impacts you or would impact your audience. It might be probably because you saw something in the pages of a newspaper or a blog, and you feel like, oh, there's some information that was left out in this writing, and I want to improve on it by writing my own. It has to do about an idea that you thought of, and you feel like, okay, I should write about this. And when I mean conceptualization, it is not always about you starting to write. Sometimes it might be a client that has conceptualized that idea and gave you that article to write. You understand? So if you are working for an organization as a writer, if you're being employed, it is possible that your employer or the editor in that organization would give you something to write about. But if you are just a self-publisher, then it means that you have to think about an idea, and from there think about an idea and think about how to write it. Now, when you conceptualize an idea, please have it at the back of your mind that you need to put your audience in perspective when thinking about an idea. When you want to write about something, you want to think about it in a way that does what you want to write about, will it resonate with your audience? Okay, is it something that they would like? Because you don't want to write something and you are the only person who has written and would read it. Okay, so you really have to write something that your audience would take a liking to and want to read from the beginning to the end. I keep talking about your audience, right? I'll tell you why. This audience are very, very important. So the first thing you do is conceptualization. Okay, now the second thing you do, the second step in how to write like a professional, is your first draft. If you are a newbie, after conceptualizing an idea, what you want to do is write a first draft. Your first draft is not meant to be perfect. Your first draft is writing your idea the way you think about it, then you write a first draft. Now, when you write a first draft, it is, like a layman, they'll call it a rough sketch or a rough copy. Let me give you an example of something. Imagine a tailor conceptualizing a particular style, that, oh, this is how the style is going to be. So the first thing they do is to sketch out the style. Now, they've already thought about the style before sketching out the style. By the time when they are sketching out the style, for writers, this is our first draft, sketching out our writing. Okay, now when you sketch out that writing, you've done your first draft. Now, the second draft here is when you add extra information to what you have written. You might even remove some information and add better information. It might be that the information you've added you in your first draft are outdated, so you want to look for new information that would make your write-up, that will make it stale. Okay, so now I was using an example of tailoring, or I mean fashion designing. Now, in the first draft, when you've sketched out the design, in their second draft is where they add colors, desired colors to make it beautiful. Now, for writers, our own color is in this second draft. You want to start putting into perspective different things that will make your information, I mean, that will make your write-up informative and educative. In fact, even entertaining enough for them to keep reading. Now, and once you've done all these things, the third step is to edit and proofread. Now, in this particular stage, this is the stage whereby you want to remove grammatical errors. It is where you want to add your punctuation marks. It is where you want to check your sentence structures. It is where you want to ensure that there is a good tone to what you have been writing. Okay, just like you as a writer, you're the first examiner of what you've written. Okay, you understand what you've written better. Okay, so you want to ensure that your write-up is airtight. There is no mistake at all. I'm not saying that we human beings don't make mistakes, but then we need to, at least in every way possible, try to avoid errors to make our write-up error free. And to edit and proofread, there are various tools that you can use, to ensure that you don't have you do away with all these errors, okay, to make your write-up like very, very good enough, make it a good copy. All right, so the last step in how to start writing like a professional is publishing. Well, yeah, that is true, because after you've passed through, you've gone through the conceptualization stage, you've done the first draft, you've done the second draft, you've done the editing and proofreading. Well, the next thing for you is to publish. And when I mean publish, it means the next thing is to get this beautiful piece that you have just written to your desired audience or to your readers, because you've done the whole job, right? And the next thing you want to do is to share your knowledge with people. So you don't keep it to yourself as a writer, you share with them. But in some cases, it might not be that you are publishing, it might be that you are submitting to your editor, who will further do proofreading as well before they now publish with your name on it on the website. So now this is 5 basic steps you need to follow as a newbie if you want to start writing like a professional. So the next thing we want to talk about is common mistakes to avoid in writing. This is very, very important, and I think you should you really need to ensure that you keep to these things to avoid mistakes. Now, one thing you want to avoid is grammatical errors. As a writer, I need to own your English. Okay, you need to write with confidence. Okay, now when you're writing with confidence involves you writing with good grammars, having a good understanding of grammar, having a good grasp of your grammar, a good grasp of English if you're writing in English language. Okay, so you must make sure that you are writing correctly, not like you want to write THE and you have TEH, or you want to write a big grammar that you know that you are not sure of, then you decide to use it in your writing. The truth is, you're not trying to impress your audience. I hope you understand, by using big grammars, and you eventually make grammatical errors. Okay, so it is better to always employ something called KISS, keep it short and simple. So employ KISS in your write-up. The second common mistakes to avoid is punctuation. A lot of people write without using punctuation marks. You must have been in a situation whereby you're in class and your teacher tells you to read out a document. You find out that by the time you're reading, because of the punctuation marks that are being used in that text, you take a pause, you continue, you take a pause, you continue. Same thing applies to writing, because you want your audience to feel relaxed when they are writing. So when you avoid punctuation marks, it's just like it means you want them to just read through, read so fast from the beginning to the end without taking a breath. Okay, but by using punctuation marks, you make them feel relaxed and make them understand that you really know what you are actually doing. Okay, now the third common mistake to avoid is use of big words. I know as a writer and as a newbie, you want to prove to yourself that you are, you have good command of English. But the truth about it is that when you use too much big words in text, in write-up, eventually you are not communicating. Take for example, you want, instead of using words like dangerous, you decide to use precarious. Okay? Now, if you are writing to your audience that don't even understand what precarious is, they don't have the time to check the dictionary for what is precarious. Okay, so you should learn how to use simple words that can communicate effectively what you are trying to talk about without you having to use big words to explain a lot of, big words to explain a lot of things. Okay, now the last thing you also want to common mistakes you need to avoid is lack of grammatical jargon. The reason I'm talking about jargon is this. Yeah, most of the time I think most writers just flow into it without having to stress themselves. Okay, but when you are writing in any aspect, in any niche, you need to understand the jargon that works in that area. Take for example, you're writing on health. For instance, you're writing on health. There are some jargon in health writing that you need to use because yes, it makes you professional. Okay, I think I can remember when I was talking to someone, someone said, "Oh, that he or she, she has headache," and I said, "Take PCM." PCM is paracetamol, but paracetamol is the general uh, jargon or general language or general, the drug name that we have, we use. Okay, but when you say PCM, a medical doctor will easily understand what PCN is. Okay, so those are like jargon, so you need to understand how to use jargon. So it doesn't make any sense when you are writing and you don't understand the jargon being used in your in that particular niche that you have chosen. So these particular things are what can make you a better and a good writer. And this is how to start writing like a professional. In my next video, I'll be talking about talking fully about how to pick a niche and how to make money from different writing niches that we have. So like I said at the beginning, don't forget to subscribe to my video so you can have notification access and notification to from for my next video when it is being uploaded. I really hope that you learned one of those things from this video. So I see you in the next class. Thank you.